blind.
And we're recording.
I never knew very many blind people, and maybe I just really wasn't sure how to cope around that, and was so busy trying to survive myself that it wasn't high on my radar to help others who were blind. But did you know Steve Famiglietti from?
I didn't know him personally very well, but I just joined the advisory panel for the State Library for the Blind, and he has been was on it for a long time. Terrible. That is just I know you were good friends with him. I saw your video on your Facebook page just before the accident, and I saw you with him. Just horrifying. Yeah. Absolutely horrifying.
Yeah, it's left a real hole in my heart, and he was an amazing friend, an extraordinary person, and he was my weather go-to because he actually wanted to be a meteorologist, found it extremely difficult with vision loss, so got a business degree. But he had inroads to the National Weather Service, and he always knew if there was a storm like this one they're forecasting. I hate weather drama, so I could always call Steve and say, "What's really going on?" And he would know.
That's so great.
And so I'm feeling that as I think about this storm, and there's many ways in which that his absence leaves just a hole in my heart and in my life, and he was a very special friend, and
it's a huge loss.
It really is, it really is. And
Suzanne, can you share with the folks that will watch this later what happened to Steve, please? And I know it's very, very tragic what happened to your friend, and I was looking forward to meeting him.
Yes. We had plans for when Ben came to Connecticut. We were going to meet with Steve, and Steve was super excited to meet Ben Fox, the Blind Can Film Festival founder, and was actually going to Florida in January and was going to Tallahassee to meet with Ben. I mean, just all these plans was so exciting. But the day before Thanksgiving, he was out for a walk with his partner, and they were crossing Blue Hills Avenue in a crosswalk with the light, and a speeding car took them both out. They were dead on the scene, instantly killed. And I received a call that night from a mutual friend, and I was just stunned in disbelief. Like, I could not absorb the reality of that. And Steve collected clocks from the time he was a child, and we had a lot of conversations around the clocks, and that they're so audio oriented. He had cuckoo clocks and grandfather clocks, and when the hour and the half hour turned in his apartment, it was just a celebration of clocks.
Great.
So when my mother passed, there was a clock that had been in my family for over 100 years. And it was actually an oak clock that was made in the state of Connecticut.
Wow.
But I grew up in California, and that was on our mantle as I was growing up, and it was my job to wind it weekly. And I didn't really have a place for the clock, and I knew how much it would mean to Steve and how much clocks meant in his life. So I offered him the clock. And he had someone just like refresh it. It was still in very good order. It just needed oiling or whatever they do to clocks. And the guy was so impressed. And so every time I would talk to Steve, he would say, "The clock is keeping perfect time." Like, he just had great joy in this clock. And it meant far more to me for him to have that and to be enjoying it than if I had brought it to my home and, had it there. So that was a very special and sweet connection that we shared. And
if I may, you said a word that I was going to try to hit on: joy. And the question might be, how do we push forward, especially in light of such tragedies like that, or just vision loss in itself, or any challenge, frankly. And one of my messages to people when I of course, easier said than done, but my message is find your joy.
Yes.
And for me, you know, music is obviously huge for me, and guitar playing, but music itself, listening to music, and I can tell when I haven't listened to enough music.
Yes.
I start to see a little more black clouds, as I like to say.
Yes.
I feel like black clouds.
Yes.
And I sort of kind of snap too, like, oh, wait a minute, I haven't, you know, today, like, put on this playlist that I like with all the certain upbeat types of music that I like, or whatever it may be. And it's so important to find your joy.
I agree.
To work through these times, like with the loss of Steve, and just vision loss or any challenge, you know, find your joy.
Right.
It's, you know, it's not always easy. I know people that can't seem to find their joy, and
Yes. And it has nothing to do with vision loss, right, Kevin?
no, nothing. No. It's just a good, helpful thing to try to do in life. You know, and it also helps me stay present.
Yes.
You know, finding your joy, whether it's sitting on the steps strumming the guitar, or you know, walking with a really cute dog, or you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And happiness is a choice. It's a conscious
Amen.
choice.
Amen. I totally agree. You know, and and it's contagious. And so I try to give that off, as all of us do, I'm sure,
Yes.
in our work and in our play. You know, it's and it's kind of selfish because I feel better when I do it, so I get the benefit. You know, but it hopefully helps sparkle someone else's day a little bit. You know.
Oh, I agree. And whenever I've spoken to you, you're always so upbeat. You're the kind of person that makes you feel better after you've connected.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and believe me, all of us, you know, we know we have our dark times, and it's important to have those, as we all know, and to work through them.
It helps to deepen gratitude, right, Kevin?
So much, so much, you know, and you know, it's one of the reasons I like to be. I'm very involved with the Lions. First of all, I'm very involved with the Lions, both locally, the Marlboro Lions, and that we're very small, small town, small club. But I'm also a president-elect of the Lions Low Vision Centers of our district. So I'll become president in the spring. I'm the vice president right now. And I'm not sure if you all are familiar with the low vision centers, but they do a lot of great work, free to those people with low vision. Not legal blindness, because if you have legal blindness, you'll you know, go to the state and BESB and all that. But for people with low vision who maybe need some magnifiers or some coaching, how to help them around the house, the Lions have these centers filled with OTs, and they help people all free of charge to the people. And I love the work, you know, because I like, it's fine like being on the board and going to be president and everything, but I actually like, you know, more ground level. I like, you know, Suzanne, I like talking in front of people. I like, you know, not the high, it's fine being like, you know, management or whatever, but I like being down and just helping people.
Right.
Like hands-on. That's what I really like.
Right.
You know, and it's where I find a lot of joy.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah. Making a difference and connecting and and that's so meaningful. And I was invited to be a mentor in the BESB mentoring services, and just teaching a woman how to iron by feel rather than vision, and how to cook, and you know, be safe cooking. That brought me joy, to give her confidence that she could do those things.
Oh, great. Yeah, and then they have those skills, they can build on them.
Right.
I mean, it's just, you know, and if you recall when I spoke and you heard me, you know, I'm very concerned. You know, at least most of us know that people with vision loss and blindness, you know, higher rates of poverty, higher rates of suicide, it's just emotional issues, you know, and that's what worries me. And I have my middle brother who has the same eye disease. He's very much on the technology side of things, and we need people like that, you know, thinking down the road and all these Google Glass and all these crazy technologies, which is great. And him and I work well together because he's very involved in that. But where I am, is talking to people and trying to help, you know, the person, like you said, who can't cook or can't iron or is frustrated and might want to call it quits. And I have seen that, you know, as much as social media has its downside, I'm active on TikTok but it's I'm called the Blind Guy Out Walking, and I make videos, and I've run across people at wit's end, really just ready to give up fully. And that, to me, when it's vision loss based, I get it, but I will do anything I can to. I've talked to people. I've been on the phone with people. They reach out to me. The last thing I want is someone to end their life over vision loss, because it's not the end of your life.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that when people are maybe a little older and they start experiencing vision loss, it's so much harder to adjust.
Yes.
And have known someone who was terrified to ride in a car because she could no longer see where the car was going, and she was like a cat on a, just hanging on, and the feeling of not being able to see, and not just let go and trust in the driver was traumatic for her.
Right.
And so I think having a lifetime of experience with vision loss, it has not been easy, and each time my vision would plateau and then just suddenly drop off. And I was crashing into furniture that I could walk around the day before.
Wow.
And it was literally like falling off the abyss. It was very hard emotionally, and then I would have to rebalance and readjust, and that was somewhat terrifying. And
I'm sure.
that was my process, but in that experience, it built a lot of strength, just like any avenue that we pursue strength, if it's muscle building, we're tearing down muscle to get stronger.
That's right.
And so through that process, I developed courage and and strength for the situation. And quite honestly, one of the best things I ever did was actually lean into the blindness.
I fully agree. Yes. Grab the bull by the horns.
Because fighting the blindness, I don't want to be blind. I want to see. I want to see. I can see a little bit.
I can see a little bit. That's right.
When I just leaned in and started doing things as a blind person, it was liberating. It was freeing.
Right. And I'm sure that's so hard for someone who doesn't have vision loss to comprehend that. Like, how can that be freeing? But it is, and it's not easy. That takes, I congratulate you, because that takes a lot of courage. I like the cane. One of the things I love to talk about is the issue with the cane, right? And it's a very small percentage of people, as you both know, I'm sure, that use canes. That a much larger percentage still need to use the cane, but don't, right?
Yeah.
And we know all the reasons, the embarrassment, and I had all that.
Yes.
I wrote a little article once about it, because it's such an issue, but it's so freeing when you use it. And it works.
Yes.
It works. Every time it's tried, it works. And no more running over children as much in the airport, or luggage, or but I get the embarrassment thing.
Yes.
I still have strips of it. Even in my town, I don't really use my cane, even though I have been in the local paper here with my cane.
Yes.
Everyone knows. I still don't use it.
Yeah.
Partly because I know the town, and although we only have so many stores, and I know the stores. So, but it's so important to use your cane and to let the world see it, frankly, because, I definitely have large concerns about the education system when it comes to disabilities, but for our case, blindness.
Yes.
And any opportunity to help educate, I want people to come up to me. I've had people come up to me, what is that? Which half of me is going, fantastic that they're asking me that. It'll allow me to, give you a quick, elevator speech of blindness.
Right.
But the other half of me is going, how terrifying that you don't know what this is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but again, everything is an opportunity. So I'll take that opportunity and explain it. But I have had, as I'm sure you have, I have had people ask me if it's in a grocery store, if it was a golf club, if I was practicing my swings.
Yes.
Dead serious. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, nope, blind, thanks.
Yeah.
And you can tell, I'm sure he was embarrassed, but
yeah.
I've had people ask me that on a plane once, because some fold up.
Yes.
They're like, what is that? Is that a measuring stick? I'm like,
yeah.
No.
I had somebody think it was a game.
Oh,
like,
right,
what kind of game is that?
Right.
Yeah.
It's really, so we need a lot of education out there.
Yeah.
which is to me that's the fun stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
If people are willing to listen.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I only wish that I started using a cane sooner
Mm-hmm.
and owned it with confidence and
Yes.
maybe learn a little baton twirl
That's
with my
right.
cane. I used to want to make a shirt for myself that said I'm blind, not stupid.
Oh, yeah. I know. Oh, all the
Because
things that
people
go through
would
our
be
head, right?
so demeaning
Yep.
sometimes, and I just couldn't see.
Right.
In the simplest situation, I was
Yep.
just trying to figure out, and people were treating me like I was stupid.
Yep.
No, I'm blind.
Right.
I'm
Blind.
not stupid.
Right. And I'm not deaf either. Stop yelling at me. It's like, yes, there are people that are deaf and blind, but that's not me.
Yes.
I wrote this piece up. It's up on my webpage. It's a shameless plug, kevinmcnally.us. And I think I titled it, it was a few years ago, I titled it, Sighted World, Everything You Know About Blindness is Wrong. And my whole purpose was to, get into the fact that, as we know, blindness is a spectrum, and
Yeah.
most people have remaining vision. Very rare to have zero light perception.
Mm-hmm.
Which creates its own problems. And then the cane, great, but creates its own problems. I wear glasses. Very confusing when you say to somebody, "Oh, I'm blind." Why are you wearing glasses? Because all they think is you have no sight, of course.
Right.
So I gave this story about an example about how, like, when you travel, right? So we go to the airport, out comes my cane, I get whisked through security, often pulled right through the special line, barely checked, they help me there, which is great. And then I cane my way up to my gate, where I sometimes have been set aside because I'm in the system, right? And I get put into a special room or special seating, and I board first. I can feel everyone looking at me because I'm wearing glasses and because I, quote, don't look like I'm blind, whatever that means.
Right.
And you get on the plane, I sit down because I'm first. I sit down, I fold up the cane, put it away, and I whip out my phone and I start looking at my phone as people are going by, and I can feel it. I know what they're thinking. That guy just faked his way onto the plane so he can board first.
Yes.
And it's like I want to stand up and just like start talking to people. Not get mad. I just want to help educate, make people understand. It's just my mission in life.
Yeah.
It's my mission. But you feel it. You feel as they're going by. Their eyes are burning into you.
Yeah. Maybe we should have like a little business cardish kind of thing to just hand people with a little blind education. I thought of doing that for Ollie, and because everybody comes up and talks to us, and they don't think I'm actually blind. They think I'm there with my pet, and why do you have a dog here? And and just all kinds of interesting conversations. And I seriously have it on my list to make a little business card for Ollie. And
I don't blame you at all. I think it's a great idea. And I have handed out my card to people. I do have a card, to, hey, reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to anybody, and help you, not you, but help them understand the blind community where we are, It's just a point of information. My brother and I, back right before COVID, it was 2018 or 19, we had a low vision conference that we put on in Cambridge, Massachusetts, with a third person. I don't know if you've ever heard of Sunu bands. They're okay. Well, one of the founders is good friends of ours. Fernando Abatorio, sure.
Okay.
And so he was part of it. Me, my brother, and Fernando. We put together this low vision conference, and with Fernando, and we held it up there in Cambridge. It was awesome, and it was so great to help. We had a good crowd. Even there was a massive storm the night before that knocked out power in the Boston area. We still had a really great turnout, and it was a great educational opportunity. Fernando, of course, is talk about a ball of energy. He's great, and but it's so important, just the education side, handing out your card and talk. I just want people to be, again, ask me, just ask me. I'll help you understand, and I'll be very kind.
Exactly.
Get the word across.
Yeah. Well, I've never known a lot about the Lions, and I've always known they are very supportive of vision and vision loss.
That's
but I'd love to learn more about the work you're doing, and some of the things that are around, just to be supportive to others and to the community. So.
The Lions do a lot of great work. we raise a good deal of money, especially considering our size here in town. We hold, pancake breakfasts and road races and all this. And all the money we raise, we give away. We are big supporters of Fidelco, lots of BESB, Chris Radio in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
If a person doesn't know what Chris Radio is, it stands for Connecticut Radio Information System.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a few studios, I think it's like 4 or so in Connecticut that they broadcast from.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a special radio or online, and they broadcast 24 hours a day. And they read the news, they read the obituaries, they read stories, history, and it's a wonderful tool for people that are not just visually impaired, intellectually, impaired, anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a really great service, and I know they need money. So we definitely help support that, and a lot of other causes. We do local things here in town and help people outside of vision loss.
Mm-hmm.
We've done things outside of vision loss. I, of course, am fond of doing things in the vision area because that's kind of my area. But
Right.
I like just to be of help. So it's good. And then, of course, the low vision centers do much more, and that is really important work that is really hands-on. I mean, we are helping the low vision community directly,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of challenges there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as the incoming president, I'm going to have my challenges before me, but it's always usually about resources. We need to keep raising resources so that we can help, because we do have a direct impact on people with low vision. It's not you're sending money off somewhere and you're not sure what happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's people of our state, and they get direct help. So it's really, I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
And myself, I do a lot of talking around the state. Kind of got slowed down there with COVID, of course, but I love to go around to senior centers. I've spoken at BESB. I've spoken to low vision groups. Before I was even on the board of directors for the low vision centers, I spoke to the board of directors of the low vision centers at their annual meeting. I have a podcast, the Kevin McNally Show, where I talk about a lot of things, but much of it is vision related, trying to help people sometimes in a funny way understand vision loss, or I highlight certain things about vision loss or stories or laws sometimes, trying to get rid of myths that people have about some like the white cane. People have some misunderstanding about the white cane and use of it. So I do a lot there, on my webpage and giving talks, and I really want to eventually end up full-time doing advocacy. I can do policy work. I'm a lawyer, so I have some abilities there with a large organization. This past December 1st, I was featured in the National Federation of the Blind. I wrote an article called "I'm Waiting to Go Blind," and they picked it up and printed it in their Braille Monitor magazine. And so that was kind of a high point for me at the end of this year. I was really happy because they do a lot of work. And I was happy to be mentioned in there, and hopefully some people will read it. It's a really interesting take on our vision loss.
Right.
And very active, try to stay active, and just like all of us, maintain our families and maintain our pleasures and things we like and everything else. But
yeah, that's wonderful, Kevin. And are you involved? Isn't there a fundraiser, a dance for the Chris Radio? Are you involved with that? As the
I have never been a part of that, and I know they also do or used to do the dinner. In the dark. So normally sighted people, they raise money. Normally sighted people would be have their eyes covered, and they would have go through a meal and a dance to get the experience of what it's like for us. Since COVID, I'm not sure if they do it. I have been trying to reach out to Scott Haney. Scott Haney, if you're listening, please look me up, Kevin McNally, Marlboro, because Scott Haney, our local weatherman, great guy. I've met him in the past. Does a lot with Chris Radio. And I would love to talk to him and start pushing some things again and get him active, because he's active in a lot of great things in Connecticut. Yeah. And I really like Scott Haney. So I'm going to keep trying to get in touch with him, but he's a busy man.
He's a very vibrant personality.
Yes, he is. I love it.
Yeah.
I like that personality.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of good work. And I know, and I don't know why, but I know he's done a work in vision loss. I'm not sure what his if there's a personal interest in that, but he does great stuff. So I'd like to talk to him. But Yeah.
Well, wonderful.
Mm.
Well, thank you so much for
Oh my
taking
gosh.
this time with us
Thank
today.
you. Thank you. This has
Really
been a pleasure.
appreciate being here. And
Absolutely.
is there anything else that you wanted to comment, Ben?
Yeah, I'm gonna start a brand new recording